Hello. Okay, so I'm going to do, I get often asked on Twitter quite a lot, different ways that people can make makeup that they've bought work for them. If they've, you know how sometimes you get it home and it's just not doing what you'd hoped it would do. So I can do as many of these as is useful. So if you have something that I haven't covered here, then just either leave me a comment, send me a message, or you can contact me on Twitter. Hopefully I'm going to edit this. I don't want this to be really long, but I'm going to do my makeup so I can show you as I'm telling you. So it's going to be kind of choppily edited probably. The first thing that I say is I do my eyes first. I do, when I'm working on someone else, I do their eyes first. And the reason that I do this is I always want to get perfect skin, which sounds really weird to start with the eyes first, but I just want the skin to be perfect. So I do the eyes, and that means that if you're doing the skin second, you don't get any drop down from any powders, you don't get any sort of, if you're leaning your finger on the face or whatever, you don't get, nothing disrupts that makeup. It just means, you know, how sometimes you do your makeup and it's all lovely and your last thing of mascara you get a line. It just means if you've done that, you can wipe it off. You're not wiping off your perfectly done foundation. One thing I always get asked about is how you do a flick. Now there's ways of doing this on other people and there's ways of doing this on yourself. So to do it on yourself, what I would say is everyone has a good eye and a bad eye, and if you don't, I'd love to hear from you, because I've never yet met anyone who doesn't have a good eye and a bad eye. This is my good eye, this is my bad eye. So there are a couple of things that I would recommend. What I do for myself, because it's what I find easiest, is I will do my bad eye first, and I'll look straight ahead and I will do my flick out to where I want it to be, and then try and match my good eye, because it's going to be easier to do that. What is also a very good way to do it if you're not so confident with your liner is to look straight ahead in a mirror. I have a mirror here, and work out, there's no law that says you have to do a straight line. What you should do is you should follow your lower lash line up and sort of see where you'd like your flick to go, and you can put a dot there. Notice I'm disobeying my own rules by starting on my good eye, but that's got the better light, I think. So I've followed my lower lash line up so that I get a nice shape, and then I've drawn a dot which you can't really see, and then you literally, it's like joining the dots. Get a felt tip liner that hasn't run out. So you follow up, put a dot, and then you can start drawing it in, and it's basically like joining the dots in a triangle. So you go from the end of your lashes up to where the dot is, and then go back to where you want your flick to start, and then colour in the middle. Now I always have to pull my lid out slightly because I've got a slightly hooded eye, so I tend to get a white bit where my crease is. So there, your liner is always going to look good. Now if you've got reasonably even eyes, then you can plan a dot on the next one, or you can sort of look at where it goes and draw a dot, or if you're me, you'll just go along by sight. So I'm just going to do that and then I'm going to come back. Okay, so next is the thing that I've been doing for years. I often do my makeup when I am in a hurry and you just don't have time to get your precision liner, but I love doing a black flick. So my go-to fix-all thing for if you have done a flick and it has gone a bit wobbly, you're not the only one, it happens to everyone, and practice makes perfect when it comes to liner flicks. So what I always have to hand is a angle brush and some black eyeshadow. This is Rimmel, but if you're going to buy a makeup palette, get one with the black in it, and then you never have to worry. And you literally go over the line you've done with the black eyeshadow, and it just softens the liner and removes any bumps. So this is also great if you've done your flick liner and you look at it and you think it's really hard. Sometimes it looks fine, sometimes it can just look quite hard. So this, even though you think don't add any more black, this just softens it completely. Quite often I find that people spend a lot of time doing their lovely flicky eyeliner and then they put their mascara on and their lashes go straight ahead. So what I recommend you do is you spend your time getting your mascara on, and then with your last sort of brush of your mascara brush for the last 2/3 of your eye from the outside, just flick them the direction that your flick is going. The outer corner you just want to flick. It'll add to the whole feline look of the eye. Just gently swoosh them to the side slightly. I'm a big fan of slapping my foundation on with my hands, but what I really like is if I put my foundation on with my brush, and if I'm going out and then going to do some shaping of my face, it means that I can again soften everything with whatever foundation is remaining on my brush. I'm not a big fan of, I do contour my face, but I'm not a big fan of it showing. So the next thing I get asked a lot is people buy foundations, often creamy foundations, in a pot that then kind of sits in the wrinkles or brings out the little white dots that some people have, or just doesn't build up the coverage they want or are expecting. What I recommend for that, and what I think is pretty universally recommended among makeup artists, is to pat it on. So I've got a couple of concealers here. I've got the Louise Young, this is concealer palette in medium, and so I'm just going to swoosh my finger around in these for a bit, and then you pat it on, and this does a number of things. It means that you are placing the concealer where you want. If you use a brush or you just sweep it on with your finger, you're not kind of leaving product where it needs to be. It also means that if you're using cream, I get quite asked this a lot from people who are using either the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage or the little Bobbi Brown pots of concealer. It just warms the concealer up a bit, and it means that it gives it a bit more movement. I really love those concealers, but I feel like they do need a bit of your body warmth. It also works very well with more liquid. This is just a Maybelline concealer, which is one of the best I think on the high street. And again, okay, so on to contouring now. If you are going to do some sort of face shaping or contouring, then the place to start is using your tragus, middle of your ear, the weird sticky out bit in the middle of your ear. That's where you should sort of aim to start from. If you have trouble, then you can stick your brush. I see I don't have very defined cheekbones, but I can feel where and you can see where I've been pushing. I can feel where the cheekbone is, and that's where you want to do your shadow. So you go from the middle of the ear down, and you just don't want to come too far down, especially if you're older, because it'll make you look really hollow cheeked. And the key is to blend. It's all very well if you want to have heavy contouring done, but you can build and blend it. Just don't think you have to put it all on in one go. The key is for you to know it's there, but for everyone else to think it's your beautiful natural bone structure. If you have done this to your face and you've ended up with this big brown line, I mean, I'm using a cream so I could buff this out, but you will also be able to just soften it by using the remaining foundation on your foundation brush. It's just going to blend everything. That's why I really like using a cream contour, because you can just blend it all out and you'll look much better. Okay, so eyebrows. As everyone knows, I am a big fan of letting your natural brows shine through, but if you need to fill in your brows, or you like to fill in your brows, you do it, but make sure you use different parts of your eye to work out where your brows should go. Your brow should start where the corner of your eye just is. See, mine are a bit short on the start, and if you lean a brush against your nose and against the corner of your eye, that's where they should end. And your arch, you basically, if you run a brush through the middle of your eye, I've only got a pencil, which is why I'm using that, from your nose to the middle of your eye, that is where your arch should be, and fill in from there. If you do it, if you fill in your brows too soon, they're going to look very weird, and they're going to make your whole of your face look weird. I understand everyone wanting to do stuff to their brows because they really can make a difference to your face, but they can make a bad difference to your face. So remember, always use this part of your nose and your eye as a guide. So start there, arch in the middle, follow the end of your eye, and that's where it should finish. If you are a fan of sort of dewy, luminous skin, but you have oily skin or mature skin, then you probably don't want to use really luminous foundations, or you can't use really luminous foundations. Then there are, but coming out now, some really lovely luminous powders that you can use to set your makeup where you want to have a bit of dewiness. I use it all over because I'm a big dewy fan and because I have dull, dry skin. I'm using Diffuse Light from Hourglass. This is my favourite brand currently for the dewy, powdery look, because it's very subtle. It's not dewy, it's sort of like lit from within. I'll put a link to my full review for these under the blog. It will set your makeup in place, so if you have an oilier skin, you might really like to use a powder to just set your makeup. I've just found that all foundations that work best on oily skin are often very matte, and that's fine, but you don't necessarily want matte all over. Okay, so that is it. I hope it's been kind of useful. They're just all things that I have been asked by people, and I thought it would be helpful to have them all in one place. So do let me know if there's anything else that you would like advice on, and I will put it on the list for my next makeup tips video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.